a fan of his. He's a funny young man. Would you welcome John Ritter? 10 years.
Your carpenter is hard at work backstage fixing many broken things that the crew has found to bring her.
She can do shoes also, in case you just...
I've given her my loafer.
How are you? It's good to see you again. It's been a long time. Ed was pulling that old overestimation trick about how long you've been on, but for 8 years.
Seemed like 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still enjoy it? I mean,
yeah.
That's,
well, you know,
you're so good on it.
Oh,
you're dynamite on that show.
Thank you so much. It's interesting because it's like doing a one-act play every week. So we have to answer to the audience. You know, we have to learn our lines, and it's always been an ensemble effort. So we all like get together, and it's the idea of putting a play on as fast as we can, and then getting out alive.
Yeah, it's remarkable you can do it because you do it in front of a live audience, even though you may stop for a moment to go to the next scene. But you play it in front of what is there?
Yeah, about 300 people twice. We've done, counting the 5:30 dress rehearsal and the 8 o'clock show, we've done about 350 of them.
Good Lord.
Yes, and so
that's incredible. Somebody told me, I came by the building I occasionally pass, and I always hear the famous people went to Hollywood High School. You are a graduate of Hollywood High.
Yes, sir. I was, I'm proud to say I was student body president
That's
there.
what I heard.
Yes, and I was very interested in, not in so much grades or sports, but I was interested in power at a very early age.
Good. That's good and honest.
Yeah, I wanted to be, my brother went to Hollywood High. He went to a handicap school for the first part of his life, but in the 10th grade, he decided to try mainstreaming, you know, which a disabled person gets involved in able-bodied activities. And so he was in the 10th grade, and I was in junior high, and he brought home the annual. And I looked at the picture. The student body president got a big picture in the Hollywood High School annual, and I went, someday, someday. And I really, you know, I was president of the high school, and then I got to SC, and I had to start all over again.
Did that ever intrigue you, the idea of going into politics?
It really did. Yeah. But when Bobby Kennedy died, I
took it out of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strange. It happened to a lot of young people at that time. I guess they were disillusioned and heartbroken.
Heartbroken, mainly, yeah.
And they just stopped it.
And that summer, I actually went overseas to Edinburgh to join the Edinburgh Festival with the USC troupe, and I got interested in acting. And I figured, well, at least in acting, you can lie and get away with it. In politics, when I lied, I always had to pay later.
So you want to be a psychologist or psychiatrist?
Psychologist, yeah. Psychiatry dealt with medicine too much, and by the time I was in college, I had forgotten what to divide meant. I couldn't do anything with numbers. So I bailed out of that, and I tried to major in social studies or social sciences, but I had lost all the will to do anything except to cut up, so I became an actor. I couldn't do anything else very well.
Luckily for all of us, you made the right choice.
Well, thank you.
We got to cut away. Fred, is that what that signal was?
That's what it was, Johnny.
Fred comes up with new little things that I've never seen before after all these years.
I'd love to see some of them.
Yes.
Johnny, why don't you do a commercial now?
Good, Fred. Master of innuendo. We'll be right back after this. Oh, no, I meant that. Yeah, I like that. We're talking with John Ritter. Let me ask you something, and I don't mean to embarrass you by saying this, but when I watch you on the show, you are so skilled at doing physical comedy, reactions, and so forth. I don't think people learn that. I think you feel it intuitively, but obviously there were people that you watched, that you liked when you were young, that you got that feeling from, the mad antics, because you play reactive type of comedy.
Well, it's also got me out of a lot of fights in elementary school, you know, keeping moving and trying to make the big guys laugh so they don't pound you. Yeah. But people like Dick Van Dyke, I've stolen from, I've watched. And,
look, we've all stolen from everybody.
Jonathan Winters, you know, and Bill Cosby, and I must say you. And, the people that make me really laugh from here are the guys that I really like to follow, as opposed to, that's very clever.
I do the same thing, too. I watch the Marx Brothers and Jack Benny and that, and you pick up little...
Buster Keaton, too, if you want to talk
from
about
all of them. When did you first find out you were funny, that you could make people laugh?
Well,
as a kid?
I was nominated, this is the power political thing again, in junior high school for service club president by a friend of mine as a goof. You know, he said, huh, Ritter, how about Ritter? You know, and I'm like this, and I'm looking around, and I was so nervous, but I remembered, and it was ironic that years later I worked with him, but I did a Don Knotts. Remember the nurse guy?
Oh, yes, of course.
And I came up and I went, well, I'll be a good president. And I just started, and then somebody said, are you nervous? I went, nope. You know?
So you found out when
they
they
liked
left?
me because I was funny, and they voted for me, and I ruined the office for everybody afterwards.
But then you're hooked.
Yeah.
You did also television commercials at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but this is a good source of income. I mean...
Yeah, well, my wife has done over 150 of them, and I tried, and every commercial I did 4 of them. I actually did one with my dad in Nashville, which was fine, a cowboy one, and...
If people don't remember, and I'm sure most people do, your father, of course, was a famous cowboy star, Tex Ritter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was quite a gentleman.
Thank you. And I thank you. I got this one commercial for Michigan Bell Telephone. People with telephones.
See how popular you must have been?
Yeah.
You still remember the commercial?
Do you remember it? Well, anyway, you might not recognize me because I was supposed to be a guy at 22, and there were many actors playing this one man, and everybody but me had brown eyes. So I had a day to get used to brown contact lenses.
Oh, I see. It was a guy getting older?
Right, and I never had worn contact lenses before, and the guy who put them in had consumed massive amounts of illegal substances. And he I'm like, yeah. And the director would go, John, you want to tone it down, you're mugging. I said, I'm in pain.
That's not the man you want to insert contact lenses.
It was tough. And then for a beer commercial for Canada, we all got drunk. You know, at the end, we're not supposed to drink, but while they weren't looking, you a little nip here. And then at the end of the thing, we're like, take what? What was it?
I've never been able to say that. That's one of those standards and practices things they have on television. You may watch. You can have a dramatic show where people get blotto. They can sit and they can go to a bar and they can drink beer there. Or they can have a highball or whatever in a dramatic show. Never during a commercial.
Never.
You ever notice these guys outdoors? Hiya, Bill. Let's uncork that one. You just get to here, and they cut to a moose or something. And you come back, and the beer is empty, and you wonder, gee, you wonder what they did with that beer. Like, isn't that strange? Sense of morality they have?
No,
you can't show them drinking.
It's very odd. But anyway, we did that, and then I did one other Listerine or something, a commercial, and I said, her breath is clean 52 times, and that's all I did. And then I decided to get out while I was still alive. I wasn't very good at it.
They're very demanding.
Yeah, and they're very hard to do. You got to have a real energy. Hi, buy this.
Yeah, her breath is clean.
It's great. Try it at home and you'll see.
I've often wondered how those gals who do those detergent commercials can become excited to the point of
ecstasy.
I was going to say something else.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm glad you got it close to what I was going to say. Over a clean pair of shorts. I just don't understand how in a laundry room they can go up bunkers. Smell this. Wow. Something's wrong with those people. Something definitely is wrong with that thing. That's their whole life. Smelling laundry is my life. I don't understand. Speaking of your dad, he had a star, did he not?
Yes.
On the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and you recently had
that
one?
that was something that...
Yeah,
thank you.
that's nice.
That was something that was actually quite touching. I thought it would be... you know, sort of a nice thing for my mom, you know, to have, which it was, but it really got me, you know. I went, gee, you know, I remember how thrilled my father was when he got it, and he would sort of joke and say, you want to go on down there with some spick and span and clean that gum off the, you know, I don't want any footprints on the X of Tex, okay? Just make sure all that. And now I'm sort of behind him, and I'm real proud.
Did they put the star right down?
You have a star on Hollywood.
Yeah, somewhere. I've never visited it.
Mine's in front of Wood Pit Barbecue. I'm very proud of
Wood Pit Barbecue.
The Wood Pit Barbecue.
Mine is on Vine Street somewhere. I guess somewhere.
Let's all go look for it now. Come on.
You have nothing big to do planned tonight. We could all meet there later. Have a cookout on our star.
That would be great.
Somebody told me about your dad when you would see his movies when you were very young. You actually thought it was like you couldn't separate the reality from the illusion, like that was part of his life or something.
Absolutely. Well, my father was a cowboy, and he wore...
The white hat.
The white hat, and he had cowboy suits when he sang, and he did rodeos, he had horses. So when my brother would say, Dad's on TV, and we'd go run down, and we'd see these B-Westerns, I knew he looked younger and thinner, but I knew that he beat up those guys, because I had proof, and I knew he offed a lot of villains.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't kiss that many girls. He hated the mushy stuff.
Not in those days.
Which was nice for our mother, you know.
Yeah.
And even though she was in some of his films. So I just thought, well, that was growing up on Texas. And I said, my father is a murderer. But for a good reason. Somebody had, it was a dirty job, but somebody...
Dad had to do it.
I didn't mind, heck.
That is strange. You don't think of that. But of course, when you're young, you can't not separate fantasy from reality. And you say, well, that's my dad. And he's just your dad. He's not a star or...
That's right. When Jason watches Three's Company,
yeah.
My boy who's 4 now, he sort of knows that I'm just pretending, and he knows Janet is Joyce, and Don Knotts is Mr. Furley. He says, that's Don, that's Mr. You know, so he can differentiate that.
At what age did he realize that it was not really where he was confused? I remember when I was on television, my kids were very young, and they would see the screen, but they couldn't understand how you could be they didn't know what... Two places at the same time. They didn't know from film or television.
That's right. Well,
how could you be here and be there?
He understands the thing of pretend. Okay, right. Like you be Luke Skywalker and I'll be Chewbacca, because Chewbacca was taller and hairier, and I am than my son. And
as well, you should be.
Right. And so he understands. He understands. Pretending and playing. And I say, well, we're just playing. And he also, for those who are interested, he's in the opening titles with Joyce DeWitt at the zoo, that little boy in overalls that Joyce always feeds a breadcrumb to. Or actually, she's feeding the animals. And that's Jason. So he comes and watches the Three's Company and goes, that's your brother, Carly. And then he leaves for the rest of the show. He doesn't care about that. He just comes for his opener, and then he splits.
Kids all heart.
Right.
Okay, we're going to take a break. Stay where Jimmy Alec is here. Not Johnny Alec. Johnny's brother, Jimmy, is here. And Robin Douglas.